thank you so much for coming this evening. For those of you that don't know, I'm Kath Young, the careers leader at the school at Kingsby Green. And Elaine, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, my name's Elaine Cook and I'm the careers coordinator. So I coordinate all sort of the careers activity and also manage the work experience programme.
We would love to welcome Year 10 and Year 12 parent and carers. The reason being is hopefully you've got it on your radar already that it is the years that we do work experience in the school. The dates here for this academic year are Monday the 1st to Friday the 5th of July for Year 10. And you can see pictures here of our pupils on work experience last year. These are Year 10 pupils that you can see in this particular picture. And you can see a range of places and range of activities that they got to do during work experience. The majority of which those pupils, you know, they sought and applied for and got all of those placements for themselves. So that's fantastic. Here is Year 12 and the dates for this academic year are the 8th, Monday the 8th to Friday the 12th of July. And again, you can see some pictures of the types of work that our pupils got and a couple of comments there from the pupils about, you know, how they found that placement and how they got on. We also receive feedback not just from the pupils on the placements, but also from our employers and also from parents. So here's a couple of comments from the programme from last year. We were absolutely delighted that 32% of our pupils were offered additional experiences. We always tell them, you know, really think about where you're going to go, what skills you want to get, maybe what you want to develop going forwards, if you've got a particular career path in mind, or if there's just an area of skill you want to develop, because it can lead to part-time work, more work experience in holiday periods, or even offers to apply for their apprenticeship schemes. And, you know, just under a third of our pupils, they got that from their work experience placement. So it is really worth, you know, them thinking about where they want to go and what that could lead to. We also ask our pupils to have a goal. You know, we give them aims for work experience, but also that they think about what they want to achieve. And it was great to see that 90% in the feedback said that they did achieve what they wanted to achieve from work experience. So do have a chat with your children and ask them, you know, what is it that they want to get from it? We would recommend in Year 10 that, you know, it is about kind of just having an experience outside of school, you know, meeting new people, developing their skills. Whereas in Year 12, they might like to get a little bit more tailored with, you know, what company are they thinking of applying to? Perhaps that company offers degree apprenticeships and that might be something they're considering, or perhaps there's a real career route that they're thinking about doing and they just want to test the water and see if that is something they think they'll enjoy. So a bit more general in Year 10, perhaps considering to go a little bit more specific if they want to test something out in particular in Year 12. You can see, you know, a quote here, I taught to listen to the employees, worked with the team and kept a positive attitude when it got tough. It can get tough. There can be some jobs that you know, companies might ask you to do that actually our pupils might feel is a little bit kind of monotonous or repetitive. Actually, all jobs have that part to them, so it's great for them to develop their resilience and actually to see, you know, that it's not always the lovely stuff you get to do. There is cleaning that needs to be done, there is organising that needs to be done, there's tidying that needs to be done, and sometimes work experience pupils, they are asked to get involved with that. And also the confidence is a huge one. So pushing themselves out of their comfort zone, having the confidence to talk to customers. If your son or daughter is particularly feeling that they need to develop their confidence, or you feel they need to develop their confidence, then I would say don't shy away from places where there are lots of people. If anything, that's the place to kind of do it, to push yourself out of that comfort zone and have that opportunity in a safe environment to talk to new people. You can see from the survey 95% felt they'd improved in lots of skills. There are 8 essential skills for the workplace through our Skills Builder programme, and 95% felt they'd improved in all of them. The one that's missing, if you feel brave enough to write it in the chat, see if you can guess which one's missing, then do. You've got 2 seconds to do that. we'll see if anyone gets that right, is leadership. So if you're looking for developing skills in leadership, then your son or daughter really needs to think about, you know, where they might go that has that opportunity, because quite often that is the area that is less possible in a work experience placement. Or if they want to do that, then they need to speak to the employer to say, you know, I'd like to develop my leadership skills. Is there actually something, especially for year 12s, is there a project I personally can take on, or is there something that actually, you know, I can try and lead if there's an activity going on, and I can have a go at maybe leading a meeting or facilitating a meeting. So we do advertise to our pupils that, you know, there are lots of things they can do. They can learn new skills, they can develop their confidence, their independence. We've talked about, you know, the offering of part-time jobs, offering apprenticeships, increasing their network. It's never too early to develop your network. You know, in year 10, they might want to go back, or they might meet someone on work experience that means that they've got another contact for work experience in year 12. Also, they might be looking for an apprenticeship. So in year 11, it gives them an opportunity to go to that contact and say, you know, you mentioned about apprenticeships, or you mentioned you had a friend who works for a company that does apprenticeships, or something like that, or someone that does a particular career, so that they can talk to somebody about that. So it's never too early to start building that. So that's something that's really important in this programme. And also finding out what they enjoy and what they don't enjoy. If they come away every day saying, I really am not enjoying this, then ask them, you know, that evening, what is it you don't enjoy? Why don't you enjoy it? Pupils, that's part of the process, is actually your sons and daughters finding out, you know, do they actually want a job that has variety and works outside as well as inside? Or do they just want a job that's mainly inside? Or actually, do they want something that's more hands-on and practical? Or do they want something that's more computer-based? And finding out what they enjoy and they don't enjoy is just as important. So yeah, if they're not enjoying something, do stress to them that is okay, and that it's great that they found that out before maybe they've gone down a path that perhaps wasn't for them. Part of it is about realization about what they like and what they don't like. They'll develop these skills. So these are the key skills for employability. These were pulled together from employers with the Skills Builder team, and the Skills Builder programme is something that we run across our whole school, and our pupils are working on these skills and developing strategies for these skills in tutor time every other week. So do ask your sons and daughters about these skills and what they've been doing and how they're applying them. In the parent newsletter that gets sent out, we sometimes pop on there the challenges. There are home challenges, so you can type in Google Skills Builder home challenges. They're quite fun and they're quite nice to do as a family. So if you want to have a look at that in more detail, then that's one way to do that. But yeah, have a chat with them about the skills, find out each day, you know, what they're doing. They will be given a work experience diary, and in that section there is a parent area. So do write any comments you have in there, and you know, put praise in there for them as well, and things. We do have a look through those booklets when they come back into school. The aims, so our aims for them are to develop those essential skills. They are transferable skills that can go across any pathway, all the different jobs that are out there. You know, they can move. As we know, we're not in a climate anymore where it's just one career forever. You know, the stats say that you're kind of looking at 3 to 7 careers in your lifetime, over 10 different jobs by the time you're 40. They're kind of the averages. So it's those transferable skills are unbelievably important, and that's why we kind of have this work experience programme, and we're keeping with that and putting pupils into these situations where they need to develop those skills, and they can do that with employers rather than just in school. The second objective is meeting different employers and increasing their confidence in networking. So it is important, if they're going into a company that has lots of different departments, you know, do ask, is there a possibility that they, you know, get the pupil to ask ideally, is there an opportunity for them to go round each of the departments and meet different people and learn about the different jobs within that organisation and what those departments are. And then learn about the job sector, you know, talk to the employees, find out what the job sector is all about before they go into the business place, find out why why they do the job they do, what they do it for, what got them into it, you know, what other jobs are in the job sector, how big that job sector is, you know, what promotions like, you know, ways to go through different roles, if they can transfer across the company. It's a great way to learn more about the job sectors that are out there. And sometimes, you know, as you probably know, job sectors link together. So it might be that they work with another job sector quite closely, and actually the skills that they learn in their particular job, they can move quite easily into another job sector if they want to later in life. And the aim is, of course, to increase their aspirations, to get them kind of thinking outside of maybe the jobs they already know, and to think that actually they could do what they're seeing, you know, the adults in the workplace see them doing. They might see someone doing something they think, oh, you know, I really would be interested in that kind of career in the future. So increasing their aspirations, and also helping them realise that it is possible to go and do that. You know, if they aim high and work hard, and find out the kind of academic, you know, pathway that they need behind them to get into those jobs, and that's all part of finding out about that business really, and those roles. Elaine will talk in a moment about this summary that you can see underneath. That's something that all the pupils have been given, but I'll leave that to Elaine to talk through in a moment. So over to you, Elaine, for the next slides.
Thank you. So as far as Kingsbury Green and support for your students, children, on the 11th of October, we ran a PSHE day for Year 10, which involved them thinking about and giving them the tools to write a CV. So all your children should now have a CV, which hopefully they've printed off a copy and brought home, so that with a view to them using it when they're sending out their applications for work experience. We also gave them sample covering letters, so they know they've got the tools to sort of, you know, send out CVs and covering letters. We also, obviously, there as a team, we've got an open door policy. They can come in and access a database. Obviously, we've been running work experience in-house now for 2 years. So year on year, we're building quite a extensive employer database. So if there's a particular area a pupil wants to go to, then we've obviously got the contacts. We don't offer it out to everybody to see, because obviously that would be quite difficult, but obviously pupils can come and ask, and we can sort of give them support. Also, their tutors will be helping them to find and keeping on board with their progress. So, and there's again, if the student's struggling to find a work experience place, then obviously tutors and ourselves will help. We run a drop-in centre every Monday in the careers room, so they can come down, they can access computers and obviously speak to us about the database. And also part of my role is that we ensure that no student goes to a work placement where we haven't done a health and safety check, and that's quite paramount, that, you know, that we do these checks so that the children are safeguarded against any anything. So next slide. So this is a snapshot of the careers website, so ortcareers.org.uk. So any information regarding work experience will be on the website. So there's copies of all the forms that the students need, and it's also quite useful to sort of tell you about the website, because obviously we use it, not only is it, you know, students access it, as parents yourself, it's quite useful to keep in touch with the website. Certainly for Year 12 parents, we post any university open days that are happening, any apprenticeships that are offering, and also sort of any volunteering or sort of parent forums. You'll see in the bottom left-hand corner, there's Parent Perspective. It's a podcast, and some of them are actually quite worth interested in listening to. So I think this one is just positive, that's about post-16 options, but I know recently there was one about sort of getting into the army and things like that. So it's quite useful to sort of keep sort of maybe if you've got time to sort of pop onto the website every now and again and just see what we've been posting. Next slide. And also you can find information about the work experience programme obviously on the main school website, so Kingsbury Green Academy, and if you click on to careers, education, and you'll find again if you need to print off the work experience forms, they're in the bottom right hand corner. So as far as support, each student was given on the 11th of October the work experience sheet. So again, it's sort of a crib sheet of what they should be doing, how to write their covering letters, what to say in the covering letters, and also, you know, again, thinking about the key soft skills. And they will receive they've received a work experience form as well. So the work experience form, it needs to be signed and completed by the employer. Obviously, we need contact details, names and addresses, emails, if there's timings of when, you know, the student's going to be working. As I say, there are key dates, but sometimes students might not work the full week, in which case if you can just highlight that on the form. Or if it's a different week, they need to obviously seek permission from the school, because sometimes some programmes, companies might not run it on those specific dates that we're asking for, but it might be a week before or after, which if we know and it works with, you know, within the school timetable, we can work around that. Obviously, the student needs to sign the form, and they're basically sort of giving consent that they agree with all the sort of terms and conditions that the employer's after. And also we request that the parent signs, and we really need all of this completed before we can actually then move on to the next stage for me for processing the application. Again, if there's any health conditions that your child has, if you can please highlight that for me, because obviously I need to let the employer know so that they can make provisions if need be. And we have deadlines for completing work experience forms. For year 12, it's Monday the 8th of January, and for year 10, it's Monday the 5th of February. Now that might seem quite a long way off to the July date, but obviously behind the scenes, I have to make sure that there's the employers have got insurance and all the health and safety checks are completed. And we're looking at sort of nearly 300 students. So, you know, it does get quite busy. All I would say is, you know, if you're finding difficulty finding a placement, then, you know, drop me an email or get the student to come into M11 and speak to us sooner rather than later. Don't leave it to sort of deadline date and before we can start looking, because not only is Kingsbury Green doing work experience sort of in July, all the other secondary schools will be doing it at the same time. So obviously if there's a specific employer that your students interested in going to, don't leave it too late, because obviously another student from another school might bagsy that place. And we run a bit of an in-house competition just to sort of make sure that the students meet the deadlines, and we offer a pizza challenge. So it's the first tutor group to get 90% of their placements sorted by the deadline, and we treat them to a Domino's pizza lunch sort of once early in the second term. Okay. And also what I would say certainly for year 12 students, if they've already got a part-time job, not to take the easy option and go to work for there. We do ask that they go and find something other than their part-time job. If it's something that they're working towards their A level, you know, something more interesting. With year 10, you know, go and find anywhere. We try to sort of, if they want to work with a parent, we do accept it, but obviously, you know, that is really a last resort. And obviously we do, because we have to have insurance for all work experience placements, It's an employer liability insurance. So if it is somebody, a friend of a friend, that doesn't have the insurance, we would probably have to say we can't take a placement there. If it's working with an immediate family member, then we can accept a placement without the insurance. But when you're, and also just one last thing, I know you probably want to help your student find work experience, but try, if you want to do the legwork, find the companies, and then even give them the contact name, so that any emails should really be coming from the student rather than the parent, because past experience, employers probably won't accept a placement if mum or carer are sending the asking for them on their behalf. I mean, obviously if you work in a business and that they will sort of take the placement, just ask the student to make that initial communication with them. Okay, so obviously wish all our students good luck, and any questions now?
That was great. Thanks, Elaine. Oh, Rachel, was that a question then? No, I put you on the spot. That was great. Thank you, Elaine. And yeah, everything there that was said is absolutely spot on. And I think it is the case, like Elaine was just saying, that getting your son or daughter to send that email. We have had emails back from employers saying, just directly to us, saying, a parent's applying, so we're not going to accept. It needs to come from the son or daughter. So even if you help them, just make sure it's coming from their school email account, not from your account. And they've got their CVs and their covering letters, and they will be editing them and developing them further in their PSHE lessons. But you might want to encourage them to kind of get on and do that even earlier than the PSHE lessons, because they have had a whole day on them, and so have got something ready to go, or should have something ready to go. Does anyone have any questions at all? I don't think we've got any in the chat at all.
No, I've just got one more thing to say. On Tuesday, the 7th of November, we've got a careers fair where we've got over 40 sort of employers and further education providers coming in. If any of you want to sort of pop in between sort of 8:30 and 9 o'clock to have a come round, we've got universities coming in for year 12 parents. And other local businesses, if you want to do, you're more than welcome to come along between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. But also, although we've presented this to year 12, it might be, if there's an employer there at the work, think work experience. So just, mention it to the students on Tuesday that, if they are thinking about somewhere, they've got the sheets with all the employers, so they can think of work experience, and hopefully something might come off the back of that.
Yeah, go and ask them directly. Absolutely. And we've definitely had that before. Pupils from the careers fair have managed to get their work experience placement sorted by kind of almost turning up to the careers fair with their CV and going to the employer and saying, I've seen you here and I would love to come and work for you in that period. And ideally, I know Elaine said we could look at different weeks. That is really on a special case. So do stick with the week that we've promoted, because the reason why we've gone for that week is that is the best week across that period of time, because for that particular year group, based on things like mock exams or sports day and things like that. So a different meet would mean clashing with something else, which might mean that they can't have the go ahead.
Yeah, and also what I did forget to tell you was the placement doesn't have to stick to Calne. It can be anywhere up and down the country. Last year we had a year 12 student that actually went to California on a work experience placement. So, as if you've got a contact that's sort of in Scotland or sort of Northern Ireland, or anywhere in the country or overseas, do contact us and talk to us about it. We wouldn't deter a student from having, an opportunity to travel further afield than sort of Calne or sort of the local area.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we just can't help with the cost for that, can we? So that would come from the parent. Absolutely. And there's no harm, you know, if there is somewhere they want to go, but they don't have employer liability insurance, and so we can't allow the placement. There's no harm in your son or daughter doing that placement, but during a holiday period where they're not expected to be in school time, really, they could do that with them, and then that's completely, you know, in your independent time with your trust and your decision making about that. And that would be that would have to be an additional work experience. But the more they do, the better their CV, the more skills they're developing. That's a great thing, really. If you feel happy with that, then yeah, we look forward to seeing where your son and daughter is thinking of going and receiving that paperwork. And yeah, good luck with your son or daughter's tutor group winning the pizza. So thank you for attending.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.